Evil-Merodach was the son and successor of Nebuchadnezzar and reigned 2 years, 561 to 560 BC. The history of the empire, both while Nebuchadnezzar reigned and afterward, is vividly sketched in the symbol of Daniel 7:4. First, a lion which had eagle's wings. Then, the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. With Nebuchadnezzar departed the strength, boldness, and swiftness of the lion with eagle's wings, and with his successors, the lion's heart and attitude were changed to that of a man. The first thing of importance that Evil-Merodach did was to release Jehoiakim, king of Judah, out of the prison, where he had been kept all the 37 years from the time of his captivity in 599 BC. Evil-Merodach spoke kindly unto him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments. And he did continually eat bread before him all the days of his life. And for his diet, there was a continual diet given him of the king of Babylon, every day a portion until the day of his death, all the days of his life. A story explains why Evil-Merodach was so kind to Jehoiakim. It says that when Nebuchadnezzar was away from the throne due to illness, Evil-Merodach managed the empire, but did a poor job. When Nebuchadnezzar recovered, he locked Evil-Merodach in prison, where Jehoiakim also was. After Nebuchadnezzar died and Evil-Merodach became king, he remembered being in prison with Jehoiakim and raised him to a position of honor. This act of freeing Jehoiakim was not only the first, but also the only significant act of Evil-Merodach's rule. He turned out to be so immoral and corrupt that his own family plotted against him and killed him after just 2 years as king. One of the main plotters was his sister's husband. That brother-in-law was named Neriglissar. His name is the same as Nergal-Sharezer, mentioned in Jeremiah 39:3, but it's unclear if they were the same person. In the first year of his rule, Media rebelled and joined Persia. Neriglissar spent 3 years forming new partnerships and getting ready for war. In the 4th year, war broke out, and Neriglissar was killed in the first big battle. A contract about his daughter's marriage says, Nabu sum Ukim, a priest of Nebo, asked the king to marry his daughter Gigitum. The king agreed. Witnesses signed the document, dated in the 1st year of Neriglissar's reign. Neriglissar's son, Laboroso-Arkod, became king next. He ruled without any self-control and acted as if being king meant he could do whatever he wanted, no matter how evil. His own people quickly grew tired of him and killed him after only 9 months. These 9 months all fell in the year 556 BC, the first 3 months of which were the beginning of the 4th year of Neriglissar, so that the death of Laboroso-Arkod occurred about the end of the year. After Laboroso-Arkod was killed, the conspirators made Nabonadius, or Nabonidus, king in 555 BC. He came from a respected family. His father had been an important official. In his first year, the king of Lydia invited him to form an alliance, since war was about to break out with Media and Persia. Nabonadius agreed, but the king of Lydia foolishly started the war before Babylon's army could arrive. Lydia was defeated, its land taken, and its king captured by the Medes and Persians. Though Nabonadius hadn't fought yet, this alliance made Babylon a target for future war, which eventually came 14 years later. An inscription from Nabonadius gives details about years 7 to 11 of his reign. It says that during those years he was in the city of Teva, while his son and army were in Akkad. In those years he did not go to Babylon in the spring, month of Nisan, and the gods Nebo and Bel also did not come to the city. The usual New Year festival was still held, and sacrifices were made in the temples of Babylon and Borsippa. In the 9th year, His mother died in a camp by the Euphrates River. His son and the soldiers mourned for 3 days. People across Akkad mourned too. The inscription also mentions events in Elam and Erech in the 11th year. Another inscription from Nabonadius is interesting because it talks about ancient kings and his own son Belshazzar, who is also mentioned in the Bible. In it, Nabonadius says he restored a temple tower in the city of Ur that had been started by a long-ago king named Uruk and finished by his son Ilgi. That tower had completely disappeared by Nabonadius's time. He rebuilt it on the same foundation, using the same materials. He ends the inscription by asking the gods to protect his life and bless his son Belshazzar, so he wouldn't sin and would remain strong. 3 more documents tell us about Belshazzar. The first one shows that in 551 BC, his secretary rented a house for 3 years, paying silver for it and agreeing not to sublet it. The second is about the sale of wool owned by Belshazzar, handled by his steward. The third is a record of a loan where Belshazzar's property was used as security. These contracts list witnesses and were written in Babylon during the 11th year of Nabonadius's reign, 545 BC. These documents show that by 551 BC, Belshazzar was old enough to have a secretary, and by 545 BC, he had his own house, a steward, and personal. In the first year of Belshazzar in his office as associate king, to Daniel was given the great vision and the explanation of it, which is recorded by that prophet in the 7th chapter of his book. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and man's heart was given to it. And behold another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and to another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as shown, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, The fourth beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, there was given to Daniel the vision recorded in the 8th chapter of his book. At the time when the vision occurred, Daniel was in the province of Elam, and in the palace at Shushan, or Susa, the capital. But in the vision he was out by the river of Ulai, which flowed through the city. He says, Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host, and of the stars, to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. And it came to pass, when I, even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then, behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O Son of Man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Nabonadius and Belshazzar were jointly the last kings of Babylon. The city fell, if not actually, in the 3rd year of Belshazzar, very shortly after the end of that year. But, as this great event is essentially a part of the history of another power, the account of it will be postponed to the place where it naturally comes. In the interpretation of the dream which Nebuchadnezzar had of the great image, after telling the king that he was the head of gold, it was said, After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and that following this there should be 2 others in succession, which should bear rule over all the earth, making in all 4 universal empires from the time of Nebuchadnezzar to the setting up of the kingdom of God in the earth. In the vision of the 1st year of Belshazzar, these 4 empires are symbolized by the 4 great beasts, the lion, the bear, the leopard, and the great and terrible nondescript beast. The lion of the vision in the 1st year of Belshazzar, therefore, corresponds to the head of gold of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and consequently represents Babylon. Being first a lion with eagle's wings, it well represents the mighty power and swiftness of the conquests of the Babylon of the time of Nebuchadnezzar. Then it was that bitter and hasty nation, whose horses were swifter than the leopards, and whose horsemen should fly as an eagle that hasteth to eat. 12. And afterward the same lion with his wings plucked, and lifted up from the earth and made to stand on his feet, as a man, with a man's heart, well represents the same kingdom of Babylon, shorn of its vigor, its power, and its majesty, as it was after the death of Nebuchadnezzar, through the reigns of the 5 weak and wicked kings, whom we have been obliged to notice in that period. As the lion corresponds to the head of gold of the great image, and so represents Babylon, so the bear of this vision corresponds to the other kingdom inferior, to Babylon, represented in the breast and arms of silver of the image in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Then in the vision of the 3rd year of Belshazzar, which occurred in the very last day of Babylon, just as it was about to pass away, only 3 symbols are used: the ram, the goat, and the little horn, which became exceeding great. And the first of these is plainly declared by the angel to be the kings of Media and Persia. This demonstrates, therefore, that the kingdom of the Medes and Persians was represented by the symbol of the bear, and was the one referred to when Daniel, in explanation of Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the great image, said to him, "After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee." Accordingly, the empire of the Bible, whose history is next to be written and studied, is that of the Medes and Persians.